Hey guys, it's Rod with Civil Advantage Firearms Training. Thanks for joining me again. Today we're going to answer the question, is the NP22 by Norinco a real SIG? And that question is kind of rhetorical because it's a replacement for a bunch of other questions. I think what most people want to know is, if I want a SIG type pistol and I can't afford a $1,000 pistol from Sig Sauer, can I buy the NP22 and will I be happy with that? And some people might think of it, will I be happy in the interim while I save up for a real SIG? Or some people might say, hey, I just want to stay away from the real SIG because it's so expensive. Will this fit my needs? So to answer some of those questions, I thought I'd do a quick video now that I have both. Thanks to my buddy Chad, eternally grateful for providing this pistol, the Sig P226 Combat. Very proud of this thing now. But nonetheless, let's get started. So the NP22, this thing is going to run you, what, $369 or something like that? Coming right from China. Incredible price for a pistol that shoots every time. It really does. So super reliable. And then these SIGs, you're looking at $1,000. The Sig P226 Combat's probably about between $11 and $11.50, I think, here in Canada. Maybe more, depending on what the US dollar is doing, but not a cheap pistol by any means. Not an affordable pistol. Great pistol nonetheless, but not affordable like this guy. As far as the differences, I'm just going to skim over these real quick, but I want to give you guys answer the most important questions in the quickest way possible, right? So, does this thing feel like a real SIG? Well, it fits in all the SIG holsters, and the rail fits stuff. The rail's a little bit weird. I'd mentioned that in a previous video. Not every light would fit on it, but it's been hit and miss with the rail. But as far as holsters are concerned and that kind of stuff, the NP22 fits in everything designed for a SIG. So the frame seems to be pretty accurate. What about the action? Like, what about how it shoots and all the rest of that stuff? Well, I don't think that the trigger on the NP22, the double action pull at least, could get much worse. It's probably the worst you'd ever feel on any double action firearm. It's stagey and really difficult, probably like 17, 18, 19 pounds. I mean, and they're all different. I've got 3 of these things, and all the trigger pulls were different. The finishing is super inconsistent. All the rest of this stuff. A lot of the issues that you see on inexpensive pistols show up in the NP22, but what I do have good to say about this thing is it shoots every time. Like, it's super reliable. And the single action trigger pull is actually perfect. I got nothing bad to say about that. As far as the finishing, I just mentioned that. The SIG, of course, is perfect. I mean, you're paying $1,000 for this pistol. And the SIG is also just as reliable as you'd expect it to be. I mean, they're great pistols. Now, some interchangeability. So, for this price, a lot of people own these. For this price, a lot of people maybe save up for them, or they just dream about them and never own one. As far as the interchangeability is concerned, let's try it right here. Will the slide on the SIG fit on? Can I interchange the slides? Is what I'm trying to say. So let's check that out. So here's our NP22 slide. Here's my SIG frame. Ooh. So that's a little. I'm not even going to risk pushing that on all the way because it's really sluggish. So I don't want to wreck either gun. But the slide on an NP22 will not work on the frame of a SIG. What about the SIG slide on the NP22 frame? A little tricky to get on. Look at that. She works. Now, I didn't fire this, so to be honest, I'm not sure I would even risk it. But it's on there. Makes the NP22 look a lot better, but I'm sure that's that comment's not going over very well in China. But nonetheless, so it's not a perfect fit, but it does work. Now, one of the other important things is, what about magazine interchangeability. Let me just pop these back together again. Now I've lent NP22 mags to other people that were shooting SIGs, and as you can see, the NP22 mags work great. The SIG mag in the SIG works great too. It sits a little bit different than the NP22 mag. Now here's where we have a problem is I've got an NP22, the native magazine works great. The SIG magazine will not work in the NP22, at least not in this one. And again, if there's something I've learned about NP22s is that they're extremely inconsistent. So yeah, the mag won't even stay in. So I don't know what that's all about, but that's your answer there. So if you have an NP22, which is one very common question, will SIG mags work in there? No. And if I have a SIG, can I get these less expensive NP22 mags? Yes, they will work. Now I haven't had any feeding problems with them, but I haven't had the SIG for a year yet. So that's kind of the jury's out on that. So if you actually have the question of that, guys, if you're someone that buys NP22 magazines to use in your SIG, please put that in the comments below. As far as any other action of the pistol, you know, guys, if you wanted a double action semi-automatic pistol, and here's sort of the bottom line of the whole thing. Are these two the same? Absolutely not. Will this one get you by? Yeah, it will. It'll fit in all your SIG stuff and you might be happy with it. But another thing, another inconsistency before I go on to my last bottom line thing there, is that I have 3 of these. I've shot all 3 of them. 2 of them are now disabled for the Canadian Firearms Safety Course. But on one of these, I actually had to ram that rear sight all the way to one direction just to get it to shoot straight. So does that mean it's a bad pistol? I don't think it does. It just means they're really inconsistent. The other 2 shot straight right out of the box. So I don't know what went on there. I'm not worried about figuring it out. But anyway, again, super reliable. So I've got nothing bad to say there. As far as if I wanted to pick up one of these, the NP22, because I wanted a nice semi-automatic double action pistol, but I didn't want to break the bank, you know what I would recommend, guys? If you can't afford a real SIG, which is in my opinion actually kind of worth the money. I'll touch on that in a second again. But if I wanted a pistol that was double action semi-auto, I'd go for one of these Burst of Thunder Pros. I really can't say enough about these pistols. They're really awesome, and it's actually got a better trigger than the SIG, so the better double action trigger pull. So consider one of those. It's only $200 more than an NP22, and this thing will last you the rest of your life. You know, figuratively speaking, it's a military grade firearm. I would trust this forever. I'm sure that thing you could run 50,000 rounds through that pistol and maybe replace a couple of parts and still be rocking. Now, value for money. The one thing I would say about a SIG versus the NP22 is there's a huge disparity in price. And the SIG is a beautiful pistol, but I've never found the P226 to be of that much more value that it's worth $1,100 over a Smith & Wesson M&P 9mm. Or a Glock, for that matter, a Glock for, you know, $750. So that's kind of one thing. It's a very kind of an elitist pistol, but you know, the price being the only problem. Other than that, fantastic firearm. So hopefully I've answered the question: is the NP22 a real SIG? No, it's not. Certainly serves in the short term, but in my firearm journey, I've got to a point where I bought a lot of cheap stuff. I mean, you guys have seen my videos. I even did a video on an NC Star product one time, right? But I bought a lot of inexpensive stuff to get myself started so that I could get out there and train, right? I bought a Chinese AR, was my first AR. And I ran that thing to destruction. But that allowed me to get training. Now that I've gone there, I don't buy inexpensive stuff anywhere near as much as I used to. So I think there's a place in the market, there's a place in most people's lives in their firearm journey for inexpensive firearms, and I think they serve a purpose. But I think once you've gotten past there, you can start budgeting for more higher quality stuff. So in the case of these 2 pistols, I'd start budgeting for this. If this is the pistol you really want, or that you really always wanted, you know, it's going to last you the rest of your life. It's never going to break on you. So probably well worth the money in the long run. Anyway, hopefully this was interesting. If you'd like to follow us on Twitter, you can, at CivilAdvantage1, or find us on the web at www.civiladvantage.com. Thanks. We'll see you next time.